We will now proceed. Honorable President.
Honorable Chairperson of the NCOP and Honorable Deputy Chairperson of the NCOP, our premiers who are here present, ministers and deputy ministers, honorable members of the National Council of Provinces, the President of SALGA.
Honorable members, if you can just be quiet a bit and keep the disturbances to a minimum. Please proceed, President.
Thank you. MECs and mayors and councillors here present, the chairperson of the ANC in the province of KwaZulu-Natal, Mr. Sponiso Duma, representatives
Order, members, please sit down. Let's please settle down. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
representatives of political parties, traditional and religious and community leaders, and ladies and gentlemen. Ngithanda ukubonga kakhulu ukuthi sithole leli thuba lokuthi sizwe abantu abethu kuleli viki lonke beveza izimvo zabo, and also thank everyone for this most informative and enriching and constructive debate. Today's proceedings have been about putting our people first. Many of the issues that have been raised over the last few days affect the lives of our people in our communities and in our municipalities, but also around the country. The provincial governments have had an opportunity, together with our national government departments, to outline the measures that they are taking to address the challenges that our people are facing. As you sat close to me, Honorable Chairperson, you described in some detail how the engagements with our people have ensued as national ministers and deputy ministers explained in a great deal of detail some of the measures that are being taken to address the challenges that our people are facing. And you also explained how the challenges such as housing, such as water, and many others, as well as local government challenges, were fully outlined in terms of the solutions that our government is and has embarked upon. This debate has also been enriched by the participation of our leaders at provincial level. MEC Shongwe gave a very extensive historical account of the origins of our challenges. He correctly pointed out that we are having to deal with the legacies of colonialism and apartheid that were in the making for 342 years. We have made great progress, he said, in the 28 years that the ANC government has been in office. We often forget, as the people of this country, that for 342 years, this country was being misruled, the people extensively exploited for all those 342 years by colonizers as well as under apartheid misrule. And of course, our people are impatient. We want to see this country completely changed and all our problems and challenges that had their foundation over 342 years being resolved overnight. But MEC Shongwe gave a very educated outline and account of where we have come from. And he said we ought to know where we come from as we proceed forward where we want to go to. And I thank him for that. Thank you very much, MEC Shongwe. Premier Ntombela, with great passion, urged us never to give up despite the challenges that we are facing. She said, never, never, never give up. Because we are not a people who give up. We are a people who engage in struggle and face our challenges head on. And as she demonstrated how in the Free State they are addressing their challenges, and of course she has great reason to be proud of the great achievements the Free State has made in education, where the Free State has come out number one in 4 years. And obviously also challenging other provinces like Gauteng, which has often been number 2, to a point where Premier Lusufi responded and said, you watch out, we will also be number 1, and suggesting that they may be number 1 next year when the matric results come out. But with great passion, Premier Ntombela, who never gives up, for as long as I've known her, she's always been positive, optimistic, energetic, and always rearing to go. Despite having faced challenges also in Jagersfontein, challenges also in the municipalities in the Free State, but she remains positive. And that is the spirit that we should all have as South Africans, despite the challenges that we face. And thank you very much, Mantombela. Ke a leboga, ngiyabonga ukuthi you remain positive. And of course, progress has been made across the board. And our Premier here in KZN outlined extensively the progress that they've been making, and I'll refer to it in a little while. MEC Mani Lusiti spoke extensively about the need for cooperation with the private sector, but she also said something quite profound, that our mayors must be champions of economic development. I've often said that economic development in our country must start right from the bottom, upwards. Our towns and cities must not be expecting that economic development will be showered from the top. It has to rise from the bottom. It is our towns and cities and our municipalities that must be the bedrock of our economic development. They are the ones who must create that conducive environment at the town, at the city, at the metro level that will attract investors to come and invest. And unless that happens, economic development, growth, and job creation will not easily happen. I often cite the case of China. China is the economic behemoth that it is, the second largest economy in the world, and their objective is to be the largest economy. But that economic growth started at the bottom. It started in their towns. It took the mayors, the councillors, to ensure that they create that climate and they promote investment. And they started up setting up investment promotion offices and areas in their towns. They are the ones who started mobilizing investment. And they are the ones who attracted investment in their towns. And of course, with the help of provincial government, their states, as well as national government, the three spheres of government then started working together. So MEC Mani Lusiti is absolutely correct. It is that cooperation that we must have with the private sector right at the local level, but also our mayors, yes, our speakers, yes, our chief whips, and our councillors must be the economic ambassadors of the areas where our people live. If we do not do that, we will not be able to achieve the economic growth that we want. And as I said in my main input, investments do not happen at the union buildings or in Parliament in Cape Town. They happen right at the lowest level. So that is what we need to focus on. Umamu Pipi spoke also extensively about the issue of economic emancipation. And I know she feels very strongly about this, as we should all. Economic emancipation of those who were relegated to the back of economic development in our country, economic emancipation of the women and empowerment of our country. She spoke about the district development model, that this is what we should use to develop the economy of our country, the economy of our regions, economy of our municipalities. That is what is needed. And if we can embrace the message that she was putting across, we will be able, without fail, to see real economic emancipation of the black people of South Africa. That is where we will be headed. Premier Lesufi, I was rather pleased to hear him outline the plans that they have in Gauteng and the steps that they are taking. And many of our provinces have similar plans. But he put real money behind some of the initiatives that they're taking. Real money to empower our township businesses. They passed the Township Development Act. And with that, they are now armed with real action that can be taken. And putting 650 million rand behind this type of economic empowerment initiative is very powerful. It is new, it is fresh, and it does feel like Gauteng indeed, in terms of the economic plan that they have. And yes, Gauteng has gone out And KZN has also gone out. Eastern Cape has also gone out. And indeed, a number of our provinces to attract investors. What they have been doing in developing their economic zone and attracting a company like Ford to come and invest billions of rands and working with them to create that conducive environment where today we are now going to manufacture 750 vehicles a day. And through that, of course, Eastern Cape does that, KZN does that, we will be competing with countries like Germany, like Japan, like Korea, in terms of making vehicles that will be exported. And the market that Gauteng and of course other provinces are targeting is the market on our continent. Through the Africa Continental Free Trade Area, we will be able to sell our vehicles, the products we make, into the rest of the continent. So where we are at the southern tip of our continent, many countries see us as the entry, the gate into the continent. And that is why investors, yes, are coming to South Africa and investing so that we can all capture the African market. Africa is opening up. We are saying it should no longer open up just for Europe and places like that. It should open up for Africa as a whole. Countries in our continent must make things that will be sold and consumed in Africa so that we no longer have to run to Europe to go and import stuff. Africans must be buying things, vehicles and products that are made here. And this is also going to benefit our mining industry because the beneficiation that will take place here in terms of making vehicles, the various minerals that go into making those vehicles are here. And soon we are now going to be moving towards making electric vehicles, electric cars that are going to be needed in Europe, in America, and many other places must be made here in South Africa. And I'm glad that our provinces are gearing up for making those vehicles. A few years ago, I spoke about building smart cities. Many took time to laugh at this dream that I spoke about. I'm glad that Premier Lesufi has caught on to this dream. And now we are going to have a smart city in Gauteng, but we are also going to have a smart city here in KZN combined with the Eastern Cape, right here. So many things are going to start happening, and I'm rather pleased that our premiers have taken time, including our MECs, to outline precisely the economic progress that we are making and the economic progress that we are going to continue making. Ndade Mohai, I want to thank him for speaking more about the need to have public servants who are going to put our people first. And he also spoke about celebrating some of the progress that we have made in SEZs, and he spoke quite logically about the developmental state. And he said that we are a developmental state, and what we need to do is to focus more on issues of development. And we are a different type of developmental state because we are inherently a democratic state, which seeks to include and involve as many people as possible, various formations that must play a key role in building this South African developmental state. And with that, we will be able to improve the lives of our people. MEC Sikwati spoke about the need for infrastructure development, and I could not agree with him more. But he speaks about it from a different or an interesting angle, that it must be targeted and integrated. It must be based on planning, and we must develop a clear district development practice, which they have done in Limpopo, and which all the districts in Limpopo have embraced, where they now have one plan for each of the districts focused on developing infrastructure, water, and so forth. Babu Hateb from the IFP, ngiyabonga kakhulu ukuthi uzinike isikhathi ukukhuluma ngeenkinga zabantu bakithi. Ngiyakubonga kakhulu waze wayokhuluma ngeenkinga zabantu bakithi uma baya emahhovisi afana noSASSA neseyibhedlela ukuthi balinda isikhathi eside. Ngiyakubonga lokho ngoba angikuthathi as a criticism. I take that as very good suggestions ukuthi le inkinga singazixazulula kanjani na. Ngiyakubonga kakhulu ukuthi you have been forthright in putting these views across. Premier wethu uNomusa Dube Ncube, ngibonga kakhulu ukuthi you took your time in explaining more in full the challenges that we have faced with the floods and the initiatives that we are taking, and you gave us an update, the progress that we are making in terms of accommodating our people who initially, as the floods happened, were accommodated in halls. Some of them are being moved out, and they are being moved into decent accommodation to give them dignity, to make sure ukuthi they will lead a better life as they move on. And thank you also for giving us a progress report on the work that we are doing in repairing the roads, the bridges, the schools, and also in rebuilding the houses that were destroyed in the floods. Other people may not really appreciate the progress. The floods that we experienced in the Eastern Cape and in KZN and in parts of Northwest were quite devastating floods. And Umama, Sylvia Lucas, she's absolutely right in saying we must also focus on climate change, because what we have seen on the eastern side of our country, affecting especially KZN and in, Eastern Cape, could be occurrences that happen all the time. And now we must address climate change, and as we address it, we were right now at the COP27 where we were insisting that the developed countries must live up to the commitments and the promises they made, and they must make sure that the money that they promised, the $100 billion every year, must now be made available to countries that are most affected by climate change. We used to think ukuthi these severe floods will happen once every 100 years, or they will only happen in countries like Mozambique without wishing them ill, or they will happen on other countries on the eastern side. They are now here. And yes, we need to get ready for disasters that are going to befall us on an ongoing basis. We have learned a lot from these floods, and that is why I appreciated the report from our Premier here about the progress that we have made. These floods have highlighted how important local government is in preparing and responding to natural disaster. And that is why it has been important for us to come here so that we can talk to the people who are most affected by these floods. And that is why it has been so good to hear also Ubaba Mkiva. Ubaba Mkiva spoke about the progress that we've been making over many years, and I thank him for that, because the progress has been extensive. Ubaba uStofile weSalga, has given us insights on what we should be doing going into the future. The fiscal architecture that Salga would like us to start looking at, to remodel, yes, even local government, so that we can avoid some of the challenges and the problems that we are having. So he's planted a seed, and we need to look at it quite extensively. Salga is our organization that focuses on our local government, and they have a lot of ideas. I also particularly like the ideas that they've put forward with regard to helping our local governments to pay their debts, to collect money, and how we can get companies to cooperate and also to play a role. MEC Meha liked her input in terms of focusing on service delivery. And Honorable Bara spoke about the gender-based violence and also applauded the summit that we held. And I think it's been important for us to make progress on gender-based violence. What I did appreciate when we were at the summit is the fact that our provinces held their own summits. They made a great deal of progress in bringing many formations together and focus on the solutions that we need to have. You are absolutely right in saying 10% of gender-based violence takes place in institutions of higher learning. Yes, that is so, but there are quite a number of those institutions that are beginning to focus on real practical steps that we need to take in addressing gender-based violence. For instance, focusing on men, young men, and having discussions and engagements with men on their own so that this masculinity that men have that is directed to oppressing women and abusing women must come to an end. You also spoke about crime that is on the rise. I'm very pleased that Minister Cele has been here and he's going to come back. Uzobuya. But what we are doing is we are employing more police. Siqasha amaphoyisa more and more, because we have realized that as our population has gone up, the number of personnel in the police service has not gone up. So we are hiring more and more police this year, and the commissioner is also here. We're already bringing in 10,000 freshly employed and trained police. Next year, we are going to bring more police into the service with a view, with a view of bringing down the levels of criminality in our country. So progress is being made, and we are saying some of those who stood here, abangaboni ukuthi siyaqhubha siyaphambili, ukuthi bake bavule amehlo abo, babone ngempela ukuthi kuyasetshenzwa. And the progress that we are going to continue making is the type of progress, yes, that has been taking time, because what this administration inherited has been enormous challenges where the state has also become rather weak and there hasn't been real good capacity, where we had all these calamities that befell us in July last year, where we had unrest, where COVID also worsened the situation, unemployment has been on the rise, and all these challenges, we are addressing them. And I have confidence, Ogoti, we will keep going up, addressing these challenges, and we should never give up. As Premier Ntombela said, we are South Africans, we don't give up. We must continue to fight and struggle against all these challenges that we have. And as I conclude, I want to say that I want to thank members of Parliament who have taken time to come out here. But many members of parliament also take their constituency work very seriously. Ngiyabonga ukuthi members of parliament do get into the communities. I want to thank our ministers and deputy ministers for the work that they put in. And the explanations that they gave here were quite deep, they were quite involved, and they were able to demonstrate that yes, work is being done and work is going to be done. Mbonge o premier betu, because they are hard-working premiers. And I thank them for the work that they have done. I want to thank the leadership of the NCOP for arranging this parliament. We hold this parliament once a year. Kwangathi we can hold it maybe a few more times where we bring parliament to our people, because we do need to communicate and tell our people what we are doing. They mustn't just see it on television. They must have an opportunity to meet with us so that they can bring forward also their suggestions. What I also appreciated, ukuthi la KZN, many of our people did not just bring ikhalazo nje. They put forward suggestions. And I appreciate the suggestions that were also put forward here in this district. Ukuthi ezinye inkinga zethu singazixazulula kanjani. So that is what I appreciate about being here. So I leave this place highly encouraged, spirits lifted, in knowing ukuthi our people can see progress is being made, but at the same time, they are in a hurry. Bafuna amanzi, bafuna izindlu, bafuna indlela, bafuna nemisebenzi. So imlayezo enisinike yona ukuthi silungise zonke lezo